Good morning, students. I hope your study is going on very well. And today we will discuss chapter number 8, that is metallurgy. Actually, this is the part of inorganic chemistry. Listen, chemistry is divided into three parts. First one is physical chemistry, second one is organic chemistry, and last one, that is third one, is inorganic chemistry. Okay, in physical chemistry there is so much mathematics, so much mathematical calculations are there. In organic chemistry we have to study related to carbon and carbon compounds. But in case of metallurgy we have to discuss about metals and their extraction of metals and reactions. So in case of inorganic chemistry you have to learn a lot. Okay, so I will explain with the help of textbook, because there are so many reactions, and extractions of metals is important. Extractions of more reactive elements, extraction of moderate reactive elements, and extraction of less reactive elements we will study in this chapter. Okay, so we have to start. So in metallurgy these are all topics we have to discuss. Okay, this is very long chapter, it will take time, so I am thinking to make this chapter in three part. Okay, probably three part I will take to finish the chapter. So you can read here, Earth was born about 4.5 years ago. This is 4.5 billion years ago. You can think, just imagine. Various formative processes have been taking place in the core of Earth and its surroundings since its creation till today. Still creation is going on inside the Earth. These have resulted in the formation of various ores, liquids and gases. We found various ores of different elements inside the Earth. Some liquids, like this is a liquid, means just you can think about petroleums, okay, and different natural gases. So think about it. This is homework for you, but answer I have written here. Which method do we use when we want to study many things together and at the same time? So we will use classification method. Okay. So the substances around us are in the form of elements or their compounds. In the beginning, listen, in the beginning elements were classified into accordance with their chemical and physical property into types like metals, non-metals and metalloids. Elements are divided into how many parts? Three parts. Metals, non-metals and metalloids. What is metalloids? Metalloids means those elements which shows the properties of metal as well as non-metals is known as metalloids. You remember the name of two metalloids. First one is silicon and second one is germanium. Okay, and these are in use even today. Still we are same method is still be used today. You have studied their characteristics in the last standard. we are going to get more information about them in this lesson. Okay, so can you tell, this is omitted, but if you want to study what are the physical properties of metals and non-metals, so you can read here. This is the physical properties of metal is given, this is omitted, and here is the physical properties of non-metals, so this is also omitted. But if you want to study, you can read from here. Okay, chemical properties of metal, do you know this is omitted? Okay, but if you want to read, you can read, no problem at all. Okay, but questions will not ask from this, do you know. So chemical properties of metal, what is the chemical properties of metal? Metals are reactive, they lose electrons easily and become positively charged ions. That is why metals are called electropositive elements. Listen, why metals are called electropositive elements? Since they lose electrons easily and become positively charged ions. That's why metals is called electropositive elements. Here is some, try this. So in this try this, we have to study, we have to work metal. Metals, copper is omitted, sodium is omitted, lead is omitted. So you will burn iron, magnesium and zinc. So what will happen? So if you take these all metals, including sodium, lead and copper, then which metals catches fires rapidly? Answer will be sodium. Rapidly is written here. How does the surface of metals appears on catching fire? How the surface of the metals appears on the catching fire? Blackish. What is the color of the flame while the metal is burning on the flame? Blue. Blue flame we can observe after burning of a metal, right? So here is reaction of metals. So reactions of metal, first is reactions of metal with oxygen. So metals combine with oxygen on heating. See, you can sodium and here is oxygen. This is metals and here is oxygen. On heating in air and metal oxides are formed. You can see this is the oxide of metals. Here when sodium and oxygen react, it forms sodium oxide. So here oxide of sodium is formed. So same thing is written here, metal oxide are formed. Sodium and potassium are very reactive metals. Sodium metals combines with oxygen in the air even at room temperature and form sodium oxide. The sodium reacts with oxygen even at room temperature. So that's why we place the sodium in kerosene. On exposure to air, sodium readily catches fire. Therefore, to prevent accident, this is remember, on exposure of air, sodium readily catches fire. Therefore, to prevent accident in the laboratory or elsewhere, it kept in kerosene. Oxides of some metals are soluble in water. This is important. Oxides of some metals. Oxides of some metals. Here is oxide of sodium. So oxide of some metals are soluble in water. It means they will dissolve in the water. They react with water to form alkali. Listen. Metal oxide you can see. Metal oxide. Here is oxide of which metal? Here is oxide of sodium. So metal oxides soluble in water and they react with water to form alkali. So you can see here is oxide of sodium. They are reacting from water and they are forming alkali. This is sodium hydroxide. Sodium hydroxide is the alkali. Okay. So I hope you all know the how to balance chemical reaction. I have explained many things in the basic lecture of my basic lectures. I have taken so much time. That's why syllabus is slow. But in this chapter I am not going to explain you how to balance a chemical equation or chemical reaction. Okay, so if you want to balance from where two came, so you have to watch my basics of chemistry lecture. In that lecture everything you will know how to balance a chemical equation. We know that magnesium oxide is formed on burning. See, magnesium oxide, see, here is a magnesium metal. If you take here magnesium metal and if you burn magnesium metal, so the same thing is written here with the help of equation. When magnesium oxide is burned with oxygen, it forms magnesium oxide. And further, see, this is the oxide of magnesium. This is, what is this? When you burn magnesium in the presence of oxygen or in the presence of air or oxygen, both are same. It means ki if I say magnesium burns in air, so again you have to take here oxygen. Okay, so if magnesium burns in the air, magnesium oxide is formed, and this magnesium oxide is soluble in water. Or sorry, this magnesium oxide is reacts with water. This magnesium oxide is written here, but don't think that here is 2, here is not 2. This is 2 is for balance. So here magnesium oxide reacts with water to form magnesium hydroxide called, see, this is magnesium hydroxide. Okay, so next one is reactions of metal with water. So I have taken so here next topic is reaction of metal with water. So we have taken here sodium, potassium, calcium, aluminium, iron, zinc, and we have to check the reactivity among these metals, which reacts with cold water, which react with hot water, and which elements are reacting from steam. So you can see, and what products are formed. Okay, and reaction is slow and fast. I have written here, already written here. So in case of sodium, they react with cold water, but sodium do not react from hot water. Hot H2 means hot water, and they do not react from steam. What is the product if they react from cold water? Sodium hydroxide plus hydrogen gas is released, and the reaction is rapid, fast reaction in case of sodium with cold water. What's about potassium? If you take potassium, they will react from cold water. Potassium do not react from hot water, and potassium do not react from cold water. That's from steam. That's why I have crossed here. Okay, cross means they are not reacting. What is the product when potassium react with water, cold water? The product is potassium hydroxide plus hydrogen gas is released. This is rapid reaction, fast reaction. In case of calcium, they react from cold water. Calcium do not react from hot water. This table is not more important. This is for your knowledge purpose. Calcium do not react from steam, but when calcium reacts from cold water, it forms calcium hydroxide plus hydrogen gas. This is slow reaction. But in case of aluminium, iron and zinc, they do not react from cold water. They do not react from hot water. Aluminium, iron and zinc, they react from steam. In case of aluminium oxide plus hydrogen gas is released. In case of iron, the reaction is slow in all the cases, all the metals. In case of iron, if iron oxide plus hydrogen gas is formed. In case of zinc oxide plus hydrogen gas is released, and this reaction is also slow. So now from this table you will be able to answer these all questions. These two reactions are omitted. Okay, so you can see here on the react. Otherwise, you can read here sodium and potassium metals react rapidly. I have already explained with the help of table, and vigorously with the water and liberates hydrogen gas. That reaction is written, so this is omitted. On the other hand, calcium reacts with water slowly and less vigorously. The hydrogen gas released in the reaction collects on the surface of the metals in the form of bubbles, and the metals float on the water. Okay? Why floats metal on the surface of the water? The reason is that is written here. Who is the responsible for the floating of metals on the water? The hydrogen gas is responsible, because hydrogen gas released in each and every cases. So hydrogen gas is responsible for the floating of metals on the surface of water. Hydrogen gas released in this reaction collects on the surface of metals in the form of bubbles, and the metals floats on the water. So reaction are written here. Calcium react with water, it forms calcium hydroxide and hydrogen gas. So this hydrogen gas is responsible for the floating of a metal on the surface of water in the form of bubbles. Okay, same aluminium also reacts. See, metals aluminium, iron and zinc do not react with cold water or hot water. With the table, in the table I have explained same thing, that is written here also, but they react with steam to form their oxide. Their oxide means what? If you take aluminium oxide will form. If you take iron, here iron oxide will form. If you take zinc oxide will form. And in all the cases, when these all metals react with steam, in all the cases corresponding metal oxides and hydrogen gas is released. Okay. Try out and think about it. Test whether the metals gold, silver and copper react with water, and think over the finding. So among gold, silver and copper react with water? No. Answer is no. The reason is they all are least reactive. It means some metals are more reactive and some metals are moderate reactive and some metals are least reactive. So least reactive do not react from water. Okay? It means we can say that different elements have different reactivity. Some is very reactive elements, some are least reactive, some are moderate reactive elements. So in case of, if you take 4 elements like magnesium, aluminium, zinc, this is important, this may ask in the MCQ. 4 elements will be given and they will ask amongst these 4 elements which one is the most reactive elements. So you can say with respect to acid, here not oxygen, here it will be acid. HCl, here will be HCl, and we know that HCl is the acid. So among 4 reaction, which elements will be react fast with HCl, hydrochloric acid? So magnesium, then aluminium, then zinc, and among these 4 elements, iron is the least reactive elements. One important thing, whenever metals react with any acid, I said any acid, in place of HCl we can take sulfuric acid also, but in your textbook that is given HCl. Why we take HCl? You can take any acid, no problem at all, but for the easy purpose we take HCl, because if you take HCl, reaction will be easy and you can remember it very easily. So always remember, when metals react with HCl or any acid, corresponding metal salts and hydrogen gas is released. Okay, suppose here is a apparatus. One apparatus is given in which what is this? This is the test tube. This is the cork. This is the delivery tube. This is the delivery tube. Here is a beaker. Here is a stand. Okay. So in this is the dilute HCl. Dilute HCl means there is water present inside the HCl, because we do not take concentrated HCl because they are very dangerous. So that's why we take dilute HCl. And if you add some metals like zinc, iron, aluminium, magnesium, so they will react. Metal will react from the acid HCl is here, and corresponding metal salts will be formed and hydrogen gas will be released. Okay. So reaction is given here. Magnesium react with S4 solid. Aqueous means inside the HCl there is water molecules. That's why aqueous is written here. G4 gas. Magnesium react with HCl, it forms magnesium chloride. This is the salt of magnesium, and plus hydrogen gas. If you take aluminium, then salt of aluminium is formed. This is salt, aluminium chloride is salt, plus hydrogen gas, same thing you can read here. Reaction of metal with nitric acid. Nitric salt of metals are formed on the reaction of metal with nitric acid. Okay, if you react metals from nitric acid, here copper is taken as a metals, when nitrate salt of metals are formed. This is the nitrate salt of metals. This is the nitrate salt of metals. So this is nitrate salt of which metals? This is nitrate salt of copper metals, because you have taken here copper. So nitrate salt of copper is formed here when nitric acid react with metals. Various oxide of nitrogen. Various oxide of nitrogen means in the product form, in the product side, there may be N2O, that is nitrous oxide, NO, that is nitric oxide, NO2, that is nitrogen oxide or nitrogen dioxide. So in the products, these all three products are possible to form. The three possibilities are there when nitric acid react with metals. So in case of copper, and this is concentrated, this is remember, this is concentrated nitric acid. It react with copper, it form copper nitrate plus NO2, that is nitrogen oxide plus water is formed. But if you increase number of nitric acid, this is dilute. See, this is dilute. So in case of dilute nitric acid, if copper react, it form again copper nitrate plus, in this case, NO. NO means that is nitric oxide plus water is formed. Okay. This is important. Aqua regia. What is aqua regia? Aqua regia is a highly corrosive and fuming liquid. Fuming liquid means the liquids which can dissolve even a very least reactive element. It is called fuming liquids. It is one of the few reagents which can dissolve the noble metals like gold and platinum. Noble elements means the elements which do not take part in any reaction. That is called noble elements. Aqua regia is freshly prepared by mixing concentrated hydrochloric acid. Listen, concentrated HCl and nitric acid in the ratio 3:1. If you take 3 part of HCl, then you have to take 1 part of this ratio is important. How aqua regia is formed? So in the ratio 3:1, 3 part will be HCl and 1 part will be nitric acid. Then that is called aqua regia, and this is highly corrosive. It means they can dissolve even noble elements like gold and platinum inside the aqua regia. Okay. Again, this is omitted or this is excluded. So your next topic is reactive series of metals. So I will explain with the help of next diagram, given diagram. So this diagram is very, very important. Definitely, MCQB may be asked from on the basis of this reactivity series of the metals. So I have already explained you different elements have different reactivity. Some elements are very react very fast. Some elements react moderately or slowly. So this reactive table shows that different elements have different reactivity. Okay, so most reactive elements, the most reactive elements is potassium, then sodium, then lithium, this is calcium, then calcium, magnesium, aluminium, zinc, iron, tin, lead. If I give three elements, potassium, calcium and copper, and if I say which one among these three elements, potassium, calcium and copper, which one is the most reactive, then your answer should be potassium. Which one will be the least reactive among three elements, among potassium, calcium and copper, then your answer should be copper. If I give three elements like sodium, iron and silver, if I say among these three elements, sodium, aluminium and copper, which one is the least reactive element, then your answer should be copper. So listen, these four reacts with water. These four elements, these all elements react with acid from here to here also, and from here to here, these all elements react with oxygen. Understood? This is called highly reactive elements. This is called moderate reactive elements. This is called less reactive element, and gold and platinum is the least reactive elements. Okay, so what if anyone asks what is reactivity series, then your answer will be the arrangement of metals in the increasing or decreasing order of reactivity is called reactivity series of metals. Understood? So you learn, this is important, so that's why I have underlined here. Okay. Next topic is reactions of metal with non-metals. Reactions of metals with non-metals. So we have to take one metals and second one we have to take non-metals. So here metals is sodium and non-metals is chlorine. So when sodium and chlorine reacts, it forms sodium chloride. This is ionic compounds. Okay, and this is salt. So noble gases like helium, neon or argon, noble gas like helium, neon, argon, noble gas means they do not react from any elements, do not take part in any chemical reaction. So far we have seen from the reaction of metals that cations are formed by oxidation of metals. Remember, when oxidation of metal take place, cations are formed. When oxidation of metal takes place, what is formed? Then cations are formed by the oxidation of metals. Cation means what? Cations means if on any atoms there is positive charge. For example, if I say sodium plus, it means on sodium atoms there is positive charge. So this is called cations. Or one is anions. So it's like Cl. There is minus charge. If there is negative charge on any atoms, it is called anions. Okay. If we took into the electronic configuration of some metals and non-metals, it will be seen that the driving force behind a reaction is to attain the electronic configuration of a nearest noble gas. It means that if sodium and chlorine reacts, it forms sodium chloride. It means in this reaction, like we know that atomic number of sodium is 11 and atomic number of chlorine is 17. So in this case, sodium attain electronic nearest noble elements like electronic configuration. Just near the sodium there is neon, that is atomic number 10 is here. So after reaction, sodium, the electronic configuration of sodium will be like neon. And in case of chlorine, the nearest noble elements near chlorine is argon, that is atomic number 18. So this chlorine atoms electronic configurations becomes like argon, or argon. In case of sodium, nearest inert elements is like neon, so its electronic configuration becomes like neon, and its electronic configuration becomes like argon. So both are like inert elements like argon and neon. So both atoms becomes stable. So same thing is written here. Metals do this by losing electrons. Metals, how metals acquires noble elements electronic configuration by losing electrons, while in case of non-metals, how non-metals acquires noble elements electronic configuration, then you can say by gaining electrons. The outermost shell of noble gas being complete, they are chemically inert. You have seen the last standard I have already explained in the ninth standard ionic compound or formation of sodium chloride in the previous lecture. Even in case of magnesium chloride I have also explained in the previous standard. Now chemical properties of non-metals, that is excluded. Okay. Your next topic is ionic compounds. The compounds formed from two units, namely cations and anions, are called ionic compounds. The cation and anion being oppositely charged, there is an electrostatic force of attraction between them. You know that this force of attraction between cation and anion is called as the ionic bond. What is ionic bond? The force of attraction between cation and anion is called ionic bond. Okay. The number of cations and anions in a compound and the magnitude of the electric charge on them is such that the positive and negative charges balance each other. It means number of positive charge on cations and number of negative charge on anions both will be same. That's why, so that overall there is no charge on any compounds. As a result, an ionic compound is electrically neutral. Why ionic compound is electrically neutral? The reason is number of positive charge and number of negative charge both are equal. That's why an ionic compound is electrically neutral. Ionic compounds are crystalline in nature. Crystalline means they have a definite arrangement. Inside the crystalline structure, the cations and anions, they are arranged in a particular manner. The surfaces of all the particles of a crystalline substance have a definite shape and are smooth and shiny. The regular arrangement of ions in the solid ionic compounds is responsible for their crystalline nature. So which is the responsible for the crystalline nature? The regular arrangement of ions in the solid ionic compounds is responsible for their crystalline nature. The arrangement of ions is different in different ionic compounds. The arrangement of ions inside the compounds is different in different ionic compounds, and therefore the shapes of their crystals are different. Okay, the main factor that determines the general arrangement of ions in a crystal is the attractive force between oppositely charged ions and repulsive force between similarly charged ions. We know that if there is positive charge and negative charge, there will be force of attraction. If there is positive and positive charge, there will be force of repulsion, right? Because of this, general crystalline structure has negative ions arranged around the positive ions and positive ions arranged around the negative ions. Actually, if I want to tell one thing, like a structure of sodium chloride. So in case of sodium chloride, here suppose here is Na plus atom. So inside around this sodium atom there will be negative ions. Here will be chloride Cl minus, here will be Cl minus, here will be Cl minus, and around this atoms there will be Na plus, again Na plus, Na plus, Na plus. Here is chlorine, so around this there will be Na plus, Na plus, Na plus. Here is Na plus, so around this there will be Cl minus, Cl minus. There is alternate, is plus, so around this atoms there will be negative atoms or anions atoms. This is negative charge, so around this there will be positive. The same thing is written in the language. Size of two of the important factors responsible for certain crystal structure as follows. This is important. Size of the positively and negatively charged ions, and second one is magnitude of electrical charge on the ions. The electrostatic attraction in the neighboring ions. Neighboring ions means this is the neighboring ions. This is the neighboring ions. So what is the neighboring ions of sodium Na plus? So neighboring ions, you can say this atoms, this atom, this atom, this. For this, if you talk which one is the neighboring ions? So this one, sodium Na plus, Na plus, Na plus, Na plus is the neighboring ions. So that is written here. The electrostatic attraction in the neighboring ions with opposite charge. Opposite charge, this is minus, so this is plus, 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 plus. Positive charge is here. Charge is very strong, very strong. That is why melting point of ionic compounds are high. Also, the ionic compounds are hard and brittle. Okay. So next topic is properties of ionic compounds. Okay. So this same thing is written in the next page or on the next page. So if you want to check whether ionic compounds are good conductor of electricity or not, so with the help of this experiment you can verify that ionic compounds is good conductor of electricity or not. So answer is written here. So first of all I will explain this one. General properties of ionic compounds. First one, the attractive force between the positively and negatively charged ions is strong. Therefore ionic compounds exist in solid state and are hard. Okay, why ionic compounds exist in solid form? The reason is the attractive force between positively and negatively charged ions is strong. Therefore the ionic compounds exist in solid state and are hard. Okay, second properties of ionic compounds. The ionic compounds are brittle and can be broken into pieces by applying pressure. Okay, the intermolecular force of attraction is high. The reason, because around the neighboring atoms are oppositely charged of opposite nature. That's why the intermolecular force of attraction is high in ionic compounds, and large energy is required to overcome it. Therefore, the melting point and boiling point of ionic compounds are high. If anyone asks why the melting and boiling point of ionic compounds are high, then your answer should be the intermolecular force of attraction is high in ionic compounds and large energy is required to overcome it. Therefore, the melting and boiling points of ionic compounds are high. Okay. Fourth properties of ionic compounds. Ionic compounds are water soluble. It means they will dissolve in the water. For example, if you dissolve water if you dissolve salt NaCl in water, because NaCl is the ionic compounds, they will dissolve inside the water. This is because the water molecules orient in a particular manner around the ions separates by dissociation process. Because I want to explain one thing. If you dissolve NaCl in water, so water molecules oriented in such a way that water molecules, say this water molecules, here is water molecules, apply a force on Na plus in this direction, and water molecules apply a force on Cl minus on this direction. So water molecules is the main factor. Water molecules apply the repulsive force on this sodium atoms and chlorine atoms. That's why they inside the water NaCl, if you dissolve NaCl, it forms Na plus and Cl minus. Okay. As a result of this, a new force of attraction is established between the ions and the surrounding water molecules, replacing the original intermolecular attraction, and aqueous solution of ionic compounds are formed. It means inside the water around this this cations there is H2, means there is water. Around this there is water. Okay. And similarly around this chloric Cl minus, this anion, around this there will be water molecules present. That's why we write like Na. We can write here like aqueous, AQ in the bracket in the reaction. Aqueous means around this atoms there is water molecules are present. Similarly, in case of chlorine, if there are water molecules around this atoms are present, so we will write here aqueous. Okay. Ionic compounds are, however, insoluble in solvent like kerosene and petrol. If you dissolve, you can try at your home. Take one spoon salt NaCl and try to dissolve in the petrol or kerosene. They will not dissolve. It means ionic compounds are insoluble in inorganic compounds like petrol and kerosene. This is because unlike water, a new attractive force cannot establish in this solvent. Okay. This is important for these questions. The ionic compounds cannot conduct electricity when in solid state. Okay. In case of solid state, they cannot conduct electricity. This state, the ions cannot leave their places. However, in the fused or molten state, they can conduct electricity. Remember, in case of molten or fused state, they can conduct electricity, but in case of solid state, they cannot conduct electricity. The reason is in case of solid state, the ions cannot leave their places, but in case of fused or molten state ions can change their places. In fused or molten state, they can conduct electricity, as in this state ions are mobile. Mobile means they can move from one place to other place. The aqueous solution of ionic compounds conduct electricity as they contain the dissociated ions. On passing current through the solution of ions move to the oppositely charged electrodes due to the electrical conductivity in fused and dissolved state. The ionic compounds are called electrolytes. Okay, due to the electrical conductivity in fused and dissolved state, the ionic compounds are called electrolytes. Okay. Some example of electrolytes are like sodium chloride, sodium sulfate, calcium chloride, etc. So in the next lecture, we will study metallurgy. Okay, because this is a very long chapter, so it is taking time. So in the next lecture, so meanwhile you can study what is metallurgy, different process are involved in the metallurgy. So before explaining me, you have to read the textbook. Okay, thank you, have a nice day.